Well, Daniel, our work, what you and I have dedicated our life to, is right before our eyes. So we got this leftist that shoots two Israeli diplomats because he thinks they're Jewish or they're connected to the Jewish cause. But we've got the leftist carrying out a jihadist mission. This is the unholy alliance that David wrote about. This is my book, United in Hate, where I was explaining the left's romance with our enemies, with communists, with jihadists. So it's right before our eyes right now. So what we are doing, what we are dedicated to, is more relevant and urgent than ever, right?
Absolutely. And people wonder, why are there these leftists siding with jihadists? Aren't they aware that they're going to finish them off? Whether they're aware or not, what's really important is they want a cause, they want a reason to be outraged, to mobilize, to radicalize, and to actually then engage in violence. And violence is not just some unintended spin-off. It's not a bug, it's the feature. The left wants to radicalize, to build an army in order to take over America. That's always been their goal. The causes individually are absolutely interchangeable. They don't care about any of those causes. You examine it closely and you find the left does not believe in any of the things it claims to care about. In fact, you look at the Soviet Union, it throughout tossed out all the things that the left believed in, including everything from environmentalism to feminism. So what the left is really about is fighting a war. And we are now actually seeing the first communist terrorist attack in quite a while, certainly first one targeting Jewish people. We've had a lot of violence from BLM violence in 2020, but this is really the first more kind of directly specific attack rather than mob violence. This guy who was a communist, he was associated with the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which is a communist party. It's a Marxist-Leninist party. People throw out in the word communism, in this case, literally communist party. One that actually celebrated October 7th. Day after October 7th, they have a big rally all out for Palestine, and they're cheering the 700, which they think is the number of Israeli dead at that point. It's going to be climbing after that, of course. And they're boasting that the resistance is doing this. The resistance is liberating areas. And by resistance, they mean Hamas. So we are talking about terrorist organizations, ones that are hostile to the United States. They opportunistically side with Islam. And, David has written extensively about the common causes there, but their ultimate goal is the overthrow and the destruction of the United States of America. And right now they see Gaza, they see supporting Hamas as a vehicle for doing that. They're going to jump from one to the other. Back in New York City, when I would actually document some of these demonstrations, I would see the same people. One day they're protesting over the environment, the next day they're protesting over illegal aliens. But it's the same people. The third day it's over Israel. Fourth day it's something else. But it's really the same cast of the same people coming out and making it seem like they have a much bigger movement than they actually do. And the Trump administration has been fantastic in cutting some of that down, cutting away some of the financial resources behind this movement. It's one of the projects we were actually working on. It was David's brainchild at the Freedom Center through Freedom Center Investigates. And we were taking on a lot of these leftist nonprofit groups that pretended to be community groups that actually got themselves nonprofit status and use that nonprofit status to promote the worst kinds of things in the world, from terrorism to pedophilia. So this is a cause that we're still fighting against. And what happened there, by the way, I should mention another fun thing about the Party for Socialism and Liberation. It's heavily intertwined with an organization known as the People's Forum. The People's Forum is actually funded and controlled out of Communist China. So we literally have domestic terrorist groups that are funded and are trained and promoted by the enemies, the foreign enemies of this country, not just in the Middle East, not just in the Muslim world, but also in Communist China. So you've got a communist terrorist associated with a group that is actually funded by Communist China.